You're listening to Keith Sports News. Hey folks, happy Friday. Welcome to KSN episode 67. And there is a lot to talk about. Yes, I made sure that I'm not going to miss this big episode. So, first off, if you hear that background noise, that's my mini fan. I have that on because I'm kind of hot in this room. Although I could have moved to the other room, but I decided not to. My laptop's already in this room, so I figured, why not just do this episode in this room? So yeah, sometimes I'll do episodes in this room. Sometimes it'll be in the other room. It depends on my mood, I guess. But hey, I am able to do this video here. Okay, so I mentioned there is a lot to talk about. The shirt that I'm wearing, I think I wore this before. Yep. Look what it says, United We Stand. I like this shirt. It's really nice. Got the eagle, the big eagle with this skull head. Yeah, I wore that because the big thing happening in sports right now is the United States Open tennis tournament. And a lot of American players are in that tournament. All right. And yes, I will talk about that in just a bit. I was going to talk about that first, but the first thing I'm going to talk about is, I'm sure you guys probably know if you were an NFL fan. Yep, breaking news. Breaking news in the National Football League. I'm going to start that first because that's the biggest news that I got over the past couple of days. All right. This breaking news was from yesterday, Thursday afternoon. All right. And I have the ESPN app. I'm not talking about their new streaming app. I'm talking about the regular ESPN app where I would get notifications. Okay. So, you can see my bottle, this bottle right here, Gatorade Zero, the preferred drink for sports. Yep. All right. So, breaking news. Got a ESPN notification, and it says the Dallas Cowboys are trading three-time All-Pro linebacker Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, reported by Adam Schefter. Yeah. I don't know what to think other than that is big news. And, it's kind of crazy is that, here's another notification I got. Record deal for Parsons. Micah Parsons. Here's the big news. The big news. The big details. Packers agree on 4-year, oh my gosh, $188 million contract that makes him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. That is crazy. That's crazy. You know what else is crazy? We're less than a week away from the first NFL regular season game. Thursday night, next week. And y'all know the matchup. Usually the defending Super Bowl champions will be hosting the first regular season game Thursday night, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. They're taking on their rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. You can call this the Thursday night game without Micah Parsons. So apparently Micah Parsons this was like a couple of weeks ago or so, or even a month ago, he wasn't happy with the Cowboys for whatever reason. I forgot what the reason was. But now he's happy. Yeah, I was watching the TSN Sports Center, and they showed his tweet, or his post on X, whatever you call it. It's still Twitter to me, damn it. Okay? Because it still looks like Twitter. They just changed the name. But he basically said, I think he said thank you or something like that. Then he put go Pack go. Go Pack go. Okay. Amazing. Wow. We'll see how the Cowboys are this season. America's team. They're no longer... I don't call them America's team. They were America's team 30 years ago. 30 years ago. Their last Super Bowl. Not only their last Super Bowl championship, it was also their last Super Bowl appearance. Not only that, it was also their last NFC championship appearance as well. Yeah. Cowboys probably not going to have a good season. But hey, there's a lot of Cowboy haters out there. I'm not a Cowboy hater. I have two brothers. They're older than me. And they're twins. And they're Cowboy haters. I think I'm going to see them this weekend because their birthday is on August 31st, which is a Sunday this year. And they usually come over, they come to see me on Labor Day weekend. So far I haven't heard from them if they really are coming or not, but usually they do come. And whenever they come, we like to talk about some sports. We do. It's fun. Because I don't have many friends or people that I know that are sports fans. All right. By the way, they don't even know that I have a sports talk channel. What if I tell them? I'm sure they might be excited. I got to hear my little brother talk about sports, you know. Yeah. Micah Parsons, no longer a Cowboy. He's now a Packer. The highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Let me see here. How old is he? Where did he play in college? Because I don't know. I think he was with the Cowboys since 2020 or something like that. 2021. So he can't be that old. Oh, he's only 26. He's still a young guy. He played college football for Penn State. Okay, I might have remember him from Penn State. What year did he get drafted? I think it was in 2021. It was 2021. The first round, 12th pick. This is big news. I mean, this is nuts. again, we're less than a week. We're officially less than a week until the first NFL regular season game that features the Dallas Cowboys without Parsons. Wow. I mean, this is unusual. Player gets signed a week before the first game of the season. And I heard that Micah Parsons will return to AT&T Stadium, I believe in week 4, on a Sunday night football game against his former team. Can you believe that? Yes, the Green Bay Packers are actually facing the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night football in, I think it's either week 4 or week 5. I think it's week 4. So like at the end of September. Yeah. It is just, that's wild, man. Sometimes there are certain athletes that will just say, screw this organization, I'm getting the F out of here. That's kind of what happened to Micah Parsons, you know? It's... You know, there's this YouTube channel that I follow sometimes, and his name is Dan Conti, and he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. He actually he released a video of his thoughts on this breaking news. So you know what? I usually don't do this, but I'm going to put his video in the link of the description below if you want to check out what he has to say. But Dan Conti, he is well known for doing his Super Bowl watch-along videos. Yeah, the first one I found him was Super Bowl 52. It was the one with the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. That Super Bowl. Yeah. Which, by the way, that is his most popular Super Bowl watch-along video. Because it was a pretty good game. And I gotta say, that was the last good Super Bowl I watched live. All the ones after, I mean, some of the ones I wasn't interested in watching them. The recent ones, I kind of watched them, but I was just, wasn't that excited, to be honest. But, yeah, that's how I found him. And he's kind of funny. His reactions are kind of funny. So, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. So, he's also a baseball fan. So you'd think he's a Texas Rangers fan as well. No, he's actually not. He's actually a Yankees fan. He's actually a New York Yankees fan because he's originally from the Bronx. That's where Yankee Stadium's at, okay? The Yankees, they're kind of like America's team in Major League Baseball because of their history, okay? Yeah. So, big news to start off this episode of KSN. Micah Parsons is now a Green Bay Packer. Packers might be a pretty good team. They might be. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Moving on now. Now let's move on to the United States Open tennis. Okay, so for those of you that have been following a lot of these episodes, I know you are, 5Tayer. Yes, I'm aware that ESPN, they just introduced their new streaming app. Okay, I don't have it. I don't plan on getting that anytime soon, mainly because you have to pay $30 a month. And I read about this news. I first heard about this news when the WWE decided to have their premium live events on the new ESPN app. Okay. And some fans are not happy about that because they have to pay $30 a month just to watch the premium live events. And I get it. Not everyone's rich. Not everyone's rich, but it seems like everything has went up the price. Even when you go grocery shopping, it seems like everything has went up the price. Even though we're kind of used to it now, it's kind of been like that for the past couple of years. I don't know why. It is what it is. So try to save your money as much as possible, especially if you're not a rich person, you know. I know it's not easy sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll get it. But it won't be anytime soon. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because I used to have YouTube TV, but I no longer have it because it's expensive. What is it, like $80 a month? I mean, it was great to have it. I enjoyed it, but another thing is I wasn't using it much. I gotta be honest, I wasn't using it much. But I gotta say, the best thing about YouTube TV is you can record unlimited amount of programming. It's great. And I did that for the championships Wimbledon. I had YouTube TV during Wimbledon, and I was recording a lot of their programming, mainly because, you know, Wimbledon is 6 hours ahead of my time, and they start early in the morning, and I'm sleeping during those hours, then I wake up, and then I go to work, and then by the time I come home, their coverage is over. Their live coverage is over. But luckily, I DVR their broadcast, so I would just watch and go through that broadcast during the evening, hoping not to get spoiled. That's the hard part about watching a DVR programming. It's hard to avoid spoilers. It is, especially nowadays with the internet, social media. I get it. It's not easy. I'll admit, I did get spoiled a few times. And yeah. Oh, they just showed Micah Parsons' tweet. It says, "Thank you, Dallas," with 3 dots, and then it says, "Go Pack Go." Yeah, they're replaying the Sports Center on TSN. You know, they play that on loop all night long. They do. They do. And there's another version of Sports Center on TSN with Jay Onrait. Jay Onrait, he's like Scott Van Pelt. Scott Van Pelt, he does his Sports Center show pretty much by himself. Jay Onrait does the same. and he's coming back on the air, I believe, on either Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, or on Labor Day Monday. Okay? So, yeah, he wasn't. It's been like over a month since his last show. He usually, that's his off season. Okay? I think it was like the Friday after the MLB All-Star game. That's when he left, or when he took time off. So he's coming back on the air very soon. So I usually watch him. All right. So yeah, I don't have YouTube TV anymore. And I think when you get YouTube TV for the first time, I think you get a 7-day free trial. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now, with this new ESPN streaming app, do you get a free trial at all for that? Or do you have to immediately pay the $30? Is it $30 or $40? I forget. It's either 30 or 40. But do you get a free trial at all? Or do you have to immediately pay your subscription? If you get a free trial, that's nice. So what about ESPN Plus? Is that still a thing, or is ESPN Plus part of the new streaming app? I'm kind of confused, and I'm sure a lot of people are also confused. But if you do your research, I'm sure it would be much easier. But like I said, I'm not going to get it anytime soon. So, hey, I guess I don't really need YouTube TV right now because, well, the United States Open, which I will get into, all week this week, I pretty much only watch the primetime matches, and usually the primetime matches are the big matches. That means I miss the day matches. Why did I miss the day matches? Because I had work. That's the problem. When you're at work or school, and if you're a tennis fan, well, mainly the Grand Slams, you're going to be missing a lot. Especially if you can't record or DVR it. Like, I can no longer do that, you know? But, oh well, it is what it is. I'm not a huge tennis fan. I kind of used to be. I think I told you this story before. I kind of used to be a big tennis fan a couple of years ago, before I became a big CFL fan. But recent years, when I became a huge CFL fan, that's kind of when I stopped, or that's when I started watching less and less of tennis, but I still follow the four Grand Slams, okay? Luckily, I get to watch the primetime matches live because I'm home, alright? So, it started on Sunday night, and I didn't know it was going to start on Sunday. It would usually begin on Monday, right? But no, they had the first round matches in the first 3 days, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. All right. Wednesday and Thursday were the second round matches. So today and tomorrow are the round 3 matches. Sunday and Labor Day Monday, I assume those are the round of 16 matches. Okay, so yeah, usually week 2 is bigger than week 1. Not only because, you know, the round of 16, but, you know, there's less matches and you're able to watch more of them. Because you know how the first week there's a whole bunch of matches at the same time, especially during the afternoon. Now during the evening, there's not many matches happening at the same time. So it's easier to follow the prime time matches, okay? Especially if you want to watch a specific match, you know, but in the afternoon, oh my gosh, there's so much happening. So I made a Google Doc. I'm sure you guys know this by now. I made a Google document of a list of things to talk about. So for the United States Open, okay, I wrote down some things to talk about. Okay, so I do get some ESPN notifications. I try not to get spoiled. Luckily, I haven't. So far, I haven't got spoiled. But that's okay. It's only, you know, it was only the first 2 rounds. So, what the heck? Okay, let me fix this real quick on my document. Bear with me. Okay. Alright, so earlier this week, we got breaking news. Oh, what the... I just closed my document. But I do remember what I put, but I'm going to reopen it. Earlier this week, breaking news in tennis. In the men's side, Jack Draper had to retire, withdraw due to an injury. Now, when I say retire, that doesn't mean he ended his career. In tennis, usually they would say the word retire when a player cannot continue a match. But I don't think Draper was in a match. I think it was like, you know, his rest day. Okay, I think he he completed his round 1 match, but round 2, his second round match, he had to withdraw the tournament, and he did. Apparently he had an injury. Draper is a British from the United Kingdom. He's left-handed. I didn't know that. He's left-handed, like me. So that's the big news earlier this week. Speaking of left-handed player, another one. As well as the word retire. Petra Kvitova on the women's side. She's now retired. And what I mean by retired, it's the other retire. She's no longer playing. Her career has ended at the U.S. Open. Petra Kvitova is also a left-handed player. She played her last match at this tournament. She lost in the first round, and she did not play well. She lost 1-6, 0-6. Yeah. That's kind of an unfortunate way to end your career. But earlier this year, she already announced that she is going to retire, end her career at the United States Open. She is a 2-time Wimbledon champion in 2011 and 2014. 2-time French Open semifinalist in 2012 and 2020. An Australian Open finalist in 2019. I do remember that. I do remember that match. She played against Naomi Osaka, and that was a great final. I was rooting for her, by the way. I was rooting for Kvitova in that final. And she made it to the U.S. Open quarterfinals 2 times in 2015 and 2017. And Yeah, she's 35. She played for over 15 years on the main tour. And yeah, I remember her back, when I first got into tennis, 2017. I do remember her. She was a great player at the time. And you know what's crazy? Apparently, back in 2016, something happened to her in 2016, at the end of 2016 or the beginning of 2017, I think. I'm trying to look. I'm on the Wikipedia article. Let's see. Oh, she won the Olympic bronze medal in 2016 in Rio in singles. Okay. 2016, that was the year where I first got into tennis, but then the following year I watched a whole bunch. So, let's see. Oh, here it is. Home invasion and robbery. So back on December 2016, Kvitova was robbed at her apartment in a city in Czech Republic, suffering multiple lacerations to the tendons and nerves on her left hand and fingers while trying to defend herself. And remember, she's left-handed. She underwent surgery to repair the damage on her hand and was expected to sit out the next 6 months in order to fully recover. 3 days later, in her first press conference since her surgery, Kvitova revealed that she had regained movement in her left hand. Okay. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy, man? And then I think she came back in Wimbledon of 2017. Yeah, on May 23rd, 2017, Kvitova announced that she would play at the Wimbledon Championships the following month and would make a last-minute decision later in the week on whether to compete in the French Open. Kvitova subsequently confirmed her participation at the latter event, thus marking her return to competition. Okay. And then the following year, in May of 2018, it was revealed that a suspect has been taken into custody. More than 5 months later, a Czech state prosecutor revealed that an unnamed 33-year-old man, and then they later identified him, had been charged with assault over a knife attack on a woman back in December 2016, which matched the date and the location of Kvitova's attack. In 2019, Kvitova testified at the trial of the man charged with assaulting her. He was sentenced to 8 years in jail. In 2020, an appeals court raised the sentence to 11 years. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy, man. So, yeah, I've always liked her. She's one of those tall players from Europe. There's a lot of tall people in Europe, and a lot of tennis players are from Europe. Have you noticed that? Unlike the old days. I mean, there were some European players in the old days, but there were less. Now there's a whole bunch. So, and another, she's also left-handed, like me. I always root for the lefties. Ben Shelton is also left-handed, the American player who has a chance to go far. Another one, the Canadian player Denis Shapovalov. TSN was showing his highlight match. He's still in the tournament, by the way. So, yeah, remember, TSN is basically the Canadian version of ESPN, so they would be talking about the Canadian players and athletes. Okay. And, yeah, Felix Auger-Aliassime, he won his match. What's another player? Leylah Fernandez. Yes. Leylah Fernandez, the runner-up 4 years ago at the 2021 U.S. Open final. Yeah. We'll talk about her in just a bit. So, yeah. Petra Kvitova, I'm sure she'll be a future Hall of Famer. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, Maria Sharapova got inducted by Serena Williams. I heard about that. I think that was like not too long ago, right? That was like right before the tournament began, I think. And she retired, Sharapova retired in 2020, right before the pandemic. So I don't know if you have to wait 5 years to get inducted to the Hall of Fame. I think, isn't the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame like that as well? And the Pro Football Hall of Fame? I don't know exactly. But anyways, let's move on now to more U.S. Open tennis news. A couple of days ago, earlier this week, I got an ESPN notification. Yeah, sometimes ESPN, they would post some highlights. Yeah, the first thing that I saw when the tournament began was the Daniil Medvedev drama. By the way, I got some more news on Daniil Medvedev. Okay. You know what? We can talk about that right now. I got an ESPN notification. Daniil Medvedev got fined. He got fined for, his behavior and all that. Let's see. Does it say how much? Trying to see if it'll say here. I'm looking. If not, then I can just look it up here. Yep. Okay. Oh wow, 2 days ago? I thought this was just yesterday. Daniil Medvedev has been fined $42,000, more than a third of his $110,000 prize money. That's crazy. For meltdown after first round loss. Even though he was down 2-0 and he won sets 3 and 4. Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened to Daniil Medvedev. He used to be in the top 5. This year, I think all of his Grand Slams results were first round losses. Medvedev was in some Grand Slam finals from a couple of years ago. He won the U.S. Open in 2021. He ended Novak Djokovic's quest. Novak was going for the calendar slam. I think that's what it's called. When a player wins all 4 Grand Slams in the same year. And this was back when Medvedev was a fantastic player. And then he was in the Australian Open Finals in 2022 and I think 2024. Yeah. And he was winning those. He blew it. He was winning those finals 2-11. He somehow lost sets 3, 4, and 5 both times. He really could have won those 2 Australian Open titles. But ever since, it's been kind of downhill, especially this year. And I like him. It is what it is. So, yeah. He has been fined. Alright, some more news at the U.S. Open. This was from 2 days ago. And this is how I found out. By getting the ESPN YouTube channel's notifications. This was a second round matchup at the end. Women's singles between Latvia player Jelena Ostapenko against American player Taylor Townsend. Something happened. At the end of their match, you know how when the players shake hands and stuff, they weren't getting along. And the crowd was booing. And that's a rare... You don't see that often in tennis. Because, you know, they say tennis is a ladies and gentlemen sport. You know, I get it. But, Taylor won. They were interviewing her after the match, and she was saying that Jelena told me that I had no education or something like that. I was like, what? What? Okay. That was kind of funny. Yeah, I remember Jelena Ostapenko. She won the French Open back in 2017, and this was back when I was getting into tennis. She was a 20-year-old. She just turned 20 at the time, so that means she's now 28. That's crazy, man. That was 8 years ago. Wow. And it looked like she gained a lot of weight. And I'm not trying to make fun of anyone that's fat, but it looked like she gained some weight. I mean, sometimes that happens to some athletes when they get older. But it seems like Ostapenko is the player that likes to cause drama. She's one of those players that likes to cause drama. Hey, I find it kind of funny because I find it entertaining. Yeah. Then I saw like a little compilation video of Jelena Ostapenko's, what do you call it? It's not meltdowns, because a meltdown is when a player smashes their racket. She didn't smash her racket. She's not one of those players that smashes the racket. She's one of those players that likes to run her mouth, okay? She likes to run her mouth at the chair umpire, sometimes at her opponent. In this case, that happened to her opponent, Taylor Townsend. And I saw a compilation video of her doing that. You know, running her mouth. And when I saw that, I was entertained. I was entertained. Now, Nick Kyrgios, remember that player on the men's side? I don't know what happened to him. I guess he's still injured, but he's a racket smasher, you know. John McEnroe, he was both a racket smasher and running his mouth in the old days. But, you know, most of these players, they're nice, you know, and I get it. It's tough. It's tough being an athlete. You know, everyone wins, everyone loses, It is what it is. That's the life of being an athlete. It's like a grind, man. It's like a grind. Especially in tennis. You go from one tournament to another, one city to another city, or country to country. It's crazy. It is crazy, and they don't really have much of an off season either. Yeah. So I respect all those players. There's not a tennis player that I really don't like. Although years ago I used to not like Kyrgios, but now I kind of like him now. I find him entertaining, but back in 2017, 2018, when I really got into it, I was like, okay, what is wrong with this guy? This guy's acting like a fool. But it's funny how when your thoughts changes on a certain person over the years. Oh yeah, I used to not like this guy, but now I kind of do, Oh, I used to like this dude. Not anymore, he's a total idiot, It is what it is, But, I respect a lot of these players, and these athletes. I don't hate Jelena Ostapenko, she's not my favorite, but she's not my least favorite. I don't have a least favorite, So so yeah, that was something. And I remember Taylor Townsend. Both Ostapenko and Townsend, they're also doubles players. Townsend is more of a doubles player, and Ostapenko, she's more of a singles player. Can you imagine if they face each other again in doubles? I don't know if that's possible. But if they are, I will watch that match. I don't really follow doubles, but the only time I watch doubles is when ESPN is showing the finals. Yeah, that's pretty much the only time I watch doubles. But when I used to have ESPN Plus, the good thing about having it is, for the tennis tournaments, the Grand Slams, you can watch any singles match, any doubles match, any mixed doubles match at any time, any device, really. It's really good. So again, I don't know if ESPN Plus is still a thing after ESPN launched their new streaming app. Is it the same thing? I don't know. I haven't really looked into details on that because I don't have ESPN Plus as well. I got rid of that after Wimbledon. As soon as Wimbledon ended, I canceled my ESPN subscription because before Wimbledon, when I had ESPN Plus, I wasn't using it very much. And they also raised up the price of that as well. Because you get Hulu, Disney Plus. I don't need that. I know a lot of people have Netflix. That's number one in terms of popularity. And that was the first streaming app for movies and programs and stuff like that. Now Netflix in the future, they're going to be having some sporting events. They're going to be having NFL Christmas games again this year. Okay. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, Drew Brees is going to be the former Saints quarterback, the best Saints quarterback of all time. He's going to be one of the announcers on one of those two Christmas games on Netflix. How do I know that? Because he was on the Rich Eisen show the other day, and I was listening to that video on their YouTube channel. Yes. I mainly follow the Rich Eisen show, Dan Patrick show, their YouTube channels, because they post, they have, every day they'll have like some special guests on there, and they would show their full interview segments on their YouTube channel. So that's really good. All right. So yeah, I heard that Drew Brees is going to be one of the announcers on one of those two NFL Christmas games on Netflix. I technically have Netflix. My father pays for Netflix. The only time I'm on Netflix, I have my own profile. And one night, I was just browsing through. I think I told you this story as well before. One night, I was just browsing through pretty much everything that they have. And there's like an icon where you can add a certain program, show, movie to your favorites or to your stuff or whatever it's called, or your library. There would be like a plus button. And yeah, one night I was just browsing through it. It took me like a couple of hours. And I was just browsing through, adding stuff, adding programs to my stuff. And I added quite a lot of them because, you know, the ones that I added, I find them interesting. But a lot of those programs that I added to my list, I never got a chance to watch any of them. The main thing I really watch on there is old WWE Monday Night Raw, because Monday Night Raw is on Netflix. The new episodes and the old episodes. But you know what's so stupid? They don't have every single episode of that show on Netflix. Unlike Peacock, when it was on Peacock, they had all the episodes, every single episode. How come Netflix doesn't have all the episodes? What's up with that? And it's been on Netflix since the beginning of this year. Here we are at the end of August. They still don't have all the episodes? What's taking them so long? Because I'm sure there are people like me that wants to watch old episodes on a weekly basis. And that's what I did when it was on Netflix. Now I can't do that. Or excuse me, when it was on Peacock. Did I say Netflix? I apologize. Yeah, I used to do that when it was on Peacock, watching an old Monday Night Raw episode on a weekly basis. Now I can't do that because Netflix doesn't have all the episodes. So instead, I would just look up YouTube to see if there's any YouTube clips from that certain episode. And I told you this story before. I'm a big fan of the old pro wrestling, since I'm not a big fan of today's pro wrestling. I watch old pro wrestling on a weekly basis because I love it. That's my entertainment, okay? A lot of people, they watch movies, a series. I don't do that. My series that I watch is old WWE, okay? WCW on Netflix, or on Peacock. The Monday Night Wars era. The best era ever. Even though I wasn't alive at the time. But I enjoy it. I enjoyed it. Just like, you know, I'm also a big music guy. I'm big into that old school rock and roll from the 1970s, 80s, even the 90s. I wasn't alive, but I love listening to a bunch of old rock and roll songs. That's my old school entertainment, you know. I got it from my father, so I thank him. Without him, most likely I wouldn't be listening to this old school stuff, you know. So, yeah. But yeah, I technically have Netflix. I have Peacock, okay, because I watch WCW on there, Alright? That's the main reason why I got Peacock in the first place, was to get the old pro wrestling content. Okay? And Peacock has sporting events too. They'll have all their Notre Dame football coverage on there, as well as all of the NBC college football, Big Ten Saturday night on there as well. Of course, last year they had the Summer Olympics. Next year in February will be the Winter Olympics. You can watch any Olympic event. It is great. It is great. It's awesome. So, yeah, and you don't have to pay $30 or $40 like you do with the new ESPN app. That's why we all wish that's why WWE fans, we all wish it's still on Peacock. I know. And SiriusXM, I also have that. I pay for that because I'm on that almost every day. Okay? Although I will admit, I pay SiriusXM's like over $20 a month, which I think it's too much. But I love having it still. I'm on it like every day, so I guess it is worth it to me. Another thing that I pay for every month is YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium. Oh yeah, and Peacock Premium as well. That means no ads whatsoever. No ads. Yeah, because over the years I got sick of the ads, especially on YouTube. Yeah. I pay for that every month because I'm on YouTube every night. Yeah, I'm on it every night, so it's worth it to me. And you know what's cool about having YouTube Premium? Is that on your phone, okay, I was listening to the U.S. Open press conferences because I enjoy listening to what the players have to say, to the questions that they get asked. Some of the questions are kind of stupid in my opinion. Because I would sometimes I look at the comments and people are saying, why are they asking these players these type of questions? And I'm like, you got a good point. But, yeah. When I'm not at the house, sometimes I would just listen to these press conferences as my radio. And when you have YouTube Premium, okay, you can turn off the screen. Okay, so look at this. I'm playing a video right now. This is on ESPN. So let me turn up the sound here. Okay, you hear the sound. Now I'm going to turn the screen off. It's still playing the sound. Yeah, it only does that when you have YouTube Premium. So when you don't have YouTube Premium, when you turn off the screen, it also turns off the video or pauses the video. But when you have I almost said YouTube TV. When you have YouTube Premium, it doesn't do that. It keeps playing the audio. And I like that because I was listening to the press conferences while I had the screen off, okay? And yeah. If you have YouTube, I almost said TV again. If y'all have YouTube Premium, then y'all can do the same thing when you listen to my episodes on KSN. Because it's just me talking to the webcam. Because, a lot of podcasts, they do that anyways. They look at the camera when they talk. And especially when they don't really have anything to show you, they'll just talk about whatever they want to talk about. So y'all can do that as well if y'all have YouTube Premium. Alright? But sometimes I'll say, hey, look at this, like I just did earlier, not too long ago. So, but yeah. There's some ESPN shows that are on TV that you can also listen to it as a podcast. And I think the best show, in my opinion, on ESPN is Pardon the Interruption. PTI with Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon. Yeah. That's a show where you can just listen to it on audio. You don't have to watch it on TV, but you can if you want to. Oh, and another one, the Paul Feinbaum Show. I'm getting back into that show because they talk about SEC football. It's mainly SEC football talk, and college football season. This is week 1. I'll get into that later. Yeah, I'm starting to get back into that show. That show's on the SEC network, but you don't have to watch it on TV. You can just listen to it on your phone or on Sirius XM if you have that. That's what I do sometimes, so it really helps. Okay. So, I got some more U.S. Open tennis news. I apologize if I'm all over the place. Sometimes it's like that. I know. This is a big episode. There's a lot more to talk about. And this is already an hour episode. I'm going to try to make it quicker because I don't really have too much time as of right now. Me talking right now. I got to go to sleep soon, but I'm still going to talk about everything that I want to talk about. I'll try to make it quick. So yeah, more U.S. Open tennis news. Venus Williams, 45-year-old Venus Williams. Yes, she lost her first round match on Monday night. I did watch that match. And she's not done at the U.S. Open. She is playing doubles with the U.S. Open 2021 runner-up Leylah Fernandez, the Canadian player, who's also half Filipino, by the way, and she can also speak French because she's born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. A lot of people speak French there, okay? So, yeah, they're teaming up, and they won their first match. So maybe I'll try to watch their second match live if I can get a chance to. So I wish them well. And there was a match that ended at... Okay. I almost forgot to mention about these. I did 2 KSN update shorts earlier this week, okay? So I think it was on Tuesday night, Carlos Alcaraz shaved his head. Yeah. For whatever reason, Carlos Alcaraz shaved his head. And he looks kind of funny with no hair. And the weird thing is, his press conference before his first round match, he had hair. And then the next day, that's when he shaved his head. I don't know why he did that or what made him do that, but that was his choice. And I think everyone likes it, though. I kind of like it. I think I'm already used to it. I'm already used to his new look, and you know what? I saw a comment. There, he or she said, "Let's go," or "Vamos, Balcarez." Yeah, Baldcarez. That's gonna be his new nickname. Vamos, Carlitos, Balcarez. Yo, this man, he might win this tournament after his new look. So yeah, he shaved his head. It's kind of funny. He is obviously one of the big favorites to win the United States Open. And he looks good with the all-purple look. He looks good. He looks pretty good in that. And then I did another KSN update short of me saying, hey, this match began at almost 11 p.m. Yeah, Alexander Zverev, Sasha Zverev, his first round match started at almost 11 p.m. Eastern Time, which is ridiculous. And the reason why that match started so late was because Coco Gauff's first round match was almost 3 hours. It was at the same court, Arthur Ashe Stadium, I believe it was. It is what it is. Sometimes that happens. But it seems like this happens every year at the United States Open, where a match would start very late and it would end very late because they had to wait for the previous match to end at the same venue. I know. Well, the other night there was a match that ended at 1:48 a.m. that lasted 4 hours and 25 minutes. I had that match on live, by the way. I didn't want to do my KSN episode until after their coverage ended. It was Tommy Paul, American player Tommy Paul, was in a second round matchup that went 5 sets. Wait, was it 5 sets? Let me look that up real quick. I'm pretty sure it was. Yep, 5 sets. He won the first 2 sets. 7-6 tiebreaker, 8-6, 6-3, 5-7, 5-7, 7-5. Yeah. The match ended at 1:48 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 hours and 25 minutes. That means the match started at, 9:23 p.m., which is kind of late. But that's not bad for a women's match to start at 9:30, because a women's match is a lot shorter and they play best of 3. And sometimes a women's match can be very, very short if it's a one-sided match. Sometimes it can only be an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, and this Tommy Paul's match can be 3 hours more. And shout out to the fans for staying up super late because they bought the tickets. Got to get their money's worth, you know? But it seems like every year that something like this happens, where a match would start very late, or a match would go on for over 4 or 5 hours, and it would end at, 2 a.m. That's ridiculous. I think what they need to do is, I know this is a good idea. I'm glad that they did the first round matches in a span of 3 days. So their early matches would begin at 11 a.m. Eastern. I think they should have them an hour earlier, 10 a.m. Eastern. So in that way, Tommy's Paul match, yes, it still would have ended late. So his match ended at 1:48 a.m. So an hour earlier would be at 12:48 a.m. Instead of starting the match at 9:23 p.m., you start the match at 8:23 p.m. Yeah, 8:23. That's a little late, but that's better than 9:23. Remember the March Madness final would begin after 9 p.m. Eastern. Now it's no longer like that. I think it's an hour earlier. Yeah. Except, a March Madness final, it's usually about a 2-hour type of game. This tennis match was almost 4.5 hours. That's another thing. A match started kind of late, and it ended super late. You know what? This also happens at the Australian Open as well. This never happens at the Wimbledon because they have a curfew policy. And I think the French Open also has that. So it's mainly Australian Open and US Open. Sometimes a match would end at 2 a.m. or even 3 a.m. One time, Andy Murray, 2023 Australian Open, he played almost all night long in Australia time. That's so crazy. In my opinion, I think they need to start their matches an hour earlier. Instead of 11 a.m. Eastern, why not have it at 10 a.m.? A 1 hour difference, that's not going to hurt you. 1 hour goes by quick. So, that's just me. But then on Thursday night, there were no matches that ended super late. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. By the way, yeah, I mainly watched the primetime matches. Monday night, I watched Venus Williams' match. Okay. Carlos Alcaraz. He was in action. I think he was in action on Tuesday, I believe. Was he? Let me look that up. Let me look him up. Was he playing on Monday or Tuesday night? He was playing... Okay, he was on Monday. Okay. I watched some of his match as well against Leylah Opelka. The Tuesday matches, I watched a Coco Gauff match, okay? The Wednesday match. Okay, the Wednesday night matches, I wasn't really interested in them. Yeah, I wasn't really interested in them. I mean, I had it on, but I wasn't really watching it. But then when I checked for Thursday night's matches, I was really intrigued because we got some American players in it. I mainly watched the Coco Gauff match when she faced Dana Vekic from Croatia. Then I also watched some of the Amanda Anisimova match, who is the same age as me. Oh, her birthday's coming up on Sunday as well. Her birthday's the same as my brother's, August 31st. So, yeah. Okay, let me look up, see here. Let me look up some of these, some of the scores since I would usually miss the day matches. Let's see. Let's go back to Wednesday on the men's singles side. Any upsets? Usually there's not many upsets on the men's side in the first two rounds. Well, there was an upset. 11-seeded player Holger Rune from Denmark. He lost in 5 sets to a German player. That's an upset. Let's see. Let me see if there's any other upsets here. Oh, wow. Casper Ruud, the 2022 U.S. Open finalist, runner-up, he lost in the second round in 5 sets as well. Wow. From Norway. Uh, 30 American seeded player Brandon Nakashima also lost in 5 sets. Man. So you never know. When a match goes into the fifth and final set, it's anyone's match. Okay, Thursday. So yesterday, the Tommy Paul match ended super late. Oh, I was also watching some of the Stefanos Tsitsipas match from Greece. They were showing some of that. He lost. Another player, I'm not sure what happened to him. Him and Medvedev. Him and Daniil Medvedev, they used to be in the top 5. Both of them, and their ranking is going down. I don't know what happened to both of them. So Tsitsipas is out. Let's see. Yeah, Felix Auger-Aliassime looked great. Same with Sasha Zverev. Yannick Sinner. I find that weird that Sinner had to play 2 day matches. Even though he's the #1 player in the world, you think he would have a primetime match. But no, they gave Alcaraz 2 primetime matches. And Yannick Sinner won the US Open last year. I don't understand that. That's weird. Well, I assume his next match will be primetime. Yeah, because Carlos's next match will be during the daytime. Oh my gosh, another big upset. Number 9 seeded player Karen Khachanov lost. And I remember him, he was in the semifinals a couple years ago. Oh man, he won the first 2 sets, and he lost sets 3, 4, and 5. Wow, that's always a heartbreaker, man. You winning first 2 sets, and you lose the next 3 sets? Unbelievable. Alright, let me go to the women's side. Go back to Wednesday, any other upsets? Because usually sometimes there is quite a bit of upsets on the men's side. Oh, Belinda Bencic lost in the second round, who was in the Wimbledon semifinals earlier this year. Leylah Fernandez, she won her match, and she's also in doubles with Venus Williams. Mira Andreeva looked great. The 5-seeded player. The 17-year-old, 18-year-old. She's so young. It's crazy. Elena Rybakina, I'm curious to know how she's going to do. Jessica Pegula, the number 4-seeded player, looked great. The daughter of the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres owner, which is her parents. Isn't that crazy? What a family. Ah, the Filipino lost. Alexandra Ayla, she lost. She won her first match against Clara Towson, and then she lost her second round match. Okay. Emma Navarro, the number 10 seeded American player, she looked fantastic in her match. Emma Raducanu, yes, I still can't believe she won the 2021 US Open. She as Brett Haber said from Tennis Channel, from unknown to major champion. How in the hell does that happen? Like, something like that will probably never happen again. Oh, here are two players that have been around for, I want to say, 15 years. Victoria Azarenka. She took on Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. Azarenka won in straight sets, 6-3, 6-3. I wonder how many times they faced each other, because they've both been around for many years. They're one of the OG players. Okay, and then Thursday, yeah, Coco Gauff. Her match against Donna Vekic was in a first tight set. Gauff won 7-6, tiebreaker 7-5, and then she won the second set 6-2. Any other upsets? Naomi Osaka, the 2-time U.S. Open champion. We'll see how she does. Oh, I saw a video on the Tennis Channel YouTube channel. They had Kim Clijsters on. Kim Clijsters, a former U.S. Open champion. She said her pick is a surprising pick. She picked Naomi Osaka to win the U.S. Open. We'll see. And Naomi Osaka, she's also a mother as well, so congrats to her on that. My pick on the women's side, even though I never said this, but I'm going to say it now. My pick to win the U.S. Open is Iga Swiatek, the Wimbledon champion. I think she can win another Grand Slam. I'm going to pick her to win the U.S. Open. And she won her second round match in 3 sets, though. 6-1, 4-6, 6-4. But she's got to be one of the favorites. She's a number 2 seed. Aryna Sabalenka, she's the number 1 seed. She's also one of the favorites. That might be the final. If it is the final, I'm all in. But I would like to see an American win the U.S. Open. Especially on the men's side, because it's been like over 20 years since the last time that happened, and that was what's his name, Andy Roddick. And I saw the clip when he won it, and the announcer said, "Grand Slam title number 1." And unfortunately for him, he's never won another one. That was his only Grand Slam win. Kind of like Daniil Medvedev. I don't think he's going to win another Grand Slam the way he's playing right now, you know. Andy Roddick, he's a funny guy. He has his own podcast. I might check that out in the future. I think it's on YouTube. And on the men's side, it's either Sinner or Alcaraz to win it. If it's an American male that can somehow go far, I think it's either Taylor Fritz or Ben Shelton. Maybe Novak. Novak might go far, but the problem with him, for him, is he's most likely going to face either Sinner or Alcaraz, and he can't match up with those two youngsters, you know. But the fact that he can still go far into the tournament at the age of 38 is impressive. It's not like he's getting crushed in the early rounds, like he doesn't have it in him anymore. If that's the case, he would retire. But no, he's still a great player for his age. Okay, the men's singles matches for today, Friday, and tomorrow. Let me see if there's any interesting matches. So this is the third round. We're having less matches as we go throughout the tournament, which means it's easier to watch these matches because there's not a bunch at the same time, you know? Let's see here. Now this is weird. Carlos Alcaraz, his first 2-round matches were prime time, but his third round match is during the daytime, and not only during the daytime, it's one of the early matches. Isn't that weird? So he's playing. Ben Shelton will be in action. Frances Tiafoe will be in action. The prime time matches. Okay, here's an interesting one. Novak Djokovic against Cameron Norrie from Great Britain. And then later, Taylor Fritz will be in action. And then tomorrow, Saturday, they haven't announced the times. It says TBD, to be determined. Jannik Sinner against Denis Shapovalov. That's got to be a primetime match, in my opinion. Yeah, Sinner, he played his first two matches were during the daytime. The last year's U.S. Open champion. That's got to be a night match. Tommy Paul, his match might also be a night match as well because his match ended so late. Plus, it's an American player. I think those are the two night matches. Or I don't know. Here's another interesting one. Alexander Zverev against Felix Auger-Aliassime. Will that be a matchup? Will that be at prime time? Although Zverev, his first 2 matches were at prime time, so maybe this one will be during the daytime. I don't know how they determine which matches will be at night. And then Sunday will be the round of 16. The women's side, okay. The women's side, today's matches. Ooh, here's an interesting one. Elena Rybakina against Emma Raducanu. Oh, I wish that match was prime time, in my opinion, because I would probably watch it. Jessica Pegula against Victoria Azarenka. That's in the afternoon. I also wish that's a prime time match. Emma Navarro against Barbara Krejcikova. That's another interesting matchup. The prime time matches are number 1 seeded player Aryna Sabalenka against Leylah Fernandez, and the other one is Taylor Townsend against Mira Andreeva. Okay. And then tomorrow, Saturday, college football Saturday. Let's see if there's any matches that are interesting. Coco Gauff will be in action. Okay. Karolina Mukova. I did say in my KSN short that she might go far into the tournament. I can see that happening. Daria Kasatkina against Naomi Osaka. That's an interesting matchup. Amanda Anisimova will be in action, as well as Iga Swiatek. All right. Okay, now we can move on. Because there's so much to talk about. Sometimes it's like that. All this news happening in the same week from the last KSN episode. Gotta talk about it in this episode. In the MLB, Philadelphia Phillies, Kyle Schwarber, he hit 4 home runs in one game. 4 home runs. And I think that's only happened, 20-something times in history? Kind of like hitting a perfect game. That's only happened 20-something times as well. So, yeah. 4 home runs. And he was at bat 5 times. His first 4 at-bats were home runs. Were all home runs. That's amazing. Watch out for those hot Phillies. Hey, do y'all remember my World Series prediction? I had the Phillies in the World Series. That might still happen. If they're in it, I'm probably going to cheer for them. Bryce Harper, I always like him. He needs a ring. Unless if they're playing the Houston Astros, which they did in 2022. That was a pretty good World Series. We'll see what happens. There's still about a month left of the regular season. All right. Okay. College football. Actually, no. Before I get into college football, I'm going to save that for last. So, let's talk about the Canadian Football League. Okay, I know college football season has pretty much started, but I have to keep watching the CFL because it's because it's my number 1 favorite league, but their regular season, they have about 2 months left. Okay, so what are they in week? I think they're in week 13. Let me look that up real quick. They have, I think, 21 regular season weeks, so about 8 weeks left. Yep, week 13 of 21, all right? So, I did tell you the story, I believe, where a couple years ago I got into the CFL, 2022. And then when the college football season began, I got dragged out of the CFL into college football. I was like, college football, they're making me watching their games. And then I told myself, all right, 2023, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna stick with the CFL from start to finish, and I'm gonna do that again this year. However, I can watch some college football games this weekend because there was no CFL Week 13. There was no Thursday night game. No more Thursday night CFL games for the rest of the season because NFL regular season is starting next Thursday night. They don't want to have games on during, NFL regular season at the same time. No Friday night games as well. Yeah, this week, Week 13, there's only 3 games. Only 6 teams are playing, which means 3 teams have a bye. One of those teams is the Montreal Alouettes, and I think they need a bye after losing, 4 games in a row? They have a bye. The BC Lions also have a bye. And the Ottawa Redblacks also have a bye. So, no Thursday night game, no Friday night game. There's no Saturday games as well, which I'm glad. I'm glad there isn't any Saturday games in the CFL because there are some big college football games tomorrow, okay, that I would like to check them out. We have a Sunday evening game and 2 Labor Day Monday games. So I'm going to make my quick predictions here. Sunday evening, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That's a big matchup. Yep. That is a big matchup. And that's the biggest matchup of Week 13. Okay? The game is at Saskatchewan. That's not going to be easy. The Roughriders are 8-2 in first place. The Blue Bombers are 6-4 in third place, behind the Calgary Stampeders. Man, now the Roughriders, they lost their last game to the Stampeders. How will they bounce back? It's all about the turnovers. I think this game can be this is like a coin flip game. I think any team can win this game. Either team can win this game. I think this game might be a close one. But I still think the Roughriders are the best team, so I'm going to have to pick them. They are the home team as well. I'm going to pick the Roughriders. Sorry, 5-Tayer. But I can see the Blue Bombers pull off this big win. It is more of a must-win for the Blue Bombers. Alright. Okay. Then we got 2 Labor Day Monday games. They usually do this. Yes, Canada also celebrates Labor Day, even though they spell Labor Day differently. In America, it's spelled L-A-B-O-R, but in Canada, it's spelled L-A-B-O-U-R. Same pronunciation, different spelling, just like Sports Center. The American version, it's spelled the word center, C-E-N-T-E-R. In Canada, it's spelled C-E-N-T-R-E, just like center court at Wimbledon. It's also spelled C-E-N-T-R-E. So we got an afternoon game between the Toronto Argonauts and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. After the Argonauts' their last game, scoring 49 points against the BC Lions. What if somehow they win again? Hamilton They're in first place in the East Division. They're 6-4. They did not play last week after they got crushed by the Roughriders. I think they'll bounce back. A lot of times a team will bounce back after a bye. I'm going to go with the Tiger Cats, but I think this game might be close as well. I don't know if Chad Kelly's going to play. He hasn't played all year. He may not play at all. But basically, for the Argonauts, the defending Grey Cup champions, they basically need to win all their games, the rest of their games, and that's not going to be easy. But I can somehow see them win this game after their crazy performance last week. Or maybe not. Maybe they'll run out of gas. Maybe they won't have any gas left in the tank. I don't know. We'll see. That's an interesting matchup, an East Division game. And then that evening is a West Division game between the Edmonton Elks and the Calgary Stampeders in Calgary. Edmonton's won 3 in a row. Can they win 4 in a row? I don't see that happening in Calgary. I got the Stampeders winning. I think they'll win this game pretty easily. But who knows? CFL, it's unpredictable, just like the Major League Baseball season. Who thought the Milwaukee Brewers would win, 10 out of their 12 games? Who would thought the Milwaukee Brewers would have the most wins by the end of August? No one. Pretty much no one thought that. Hey, that makes it more interesting. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll watch these games. The Sunday night game, that's the biggest matchup, but that's also my brother's birthday, and I still don't know if they're going to be coming over to see me, but they usually do on Labor Day weekend, and that's their actual birthday, Sunday, August 31st, so we might do something special. If I miss that game, I guess I'll try to watch the late night replay, if they have that on, late at night. If not, then I guess I'll watch the highlights. The Labor Day Monday games, I should be able to watch those, as well as the United States Open Tennis, so I might be watching 2 things at the same time. And I can do that, even if I don't have YouTube TV. I just got to do it on 2 separate TVs. Now to college football. The last... One of the 2 last things I'm going to talk about, the second to last thing I'm going to talk about, is college football. So technically the season, their regular season began last Saturday, but it was known as Week 0. But that counts. The Week 0 games count as a regular season game. So I didn't watch the game in Ireland between Kansas State and Iowa State. I still haven't even checked out the highlights. I forgot which team won, so I might check that out later if I remember. That was the only big Week 0 matchup. But here we are, Week 1. There were some games last night, Thursday night, and there's also going to be some games tonight. But Saturday, always going to be a bunch of games at the same time. Okay? So, excuse me. I haven't even checked out the highlights of the Thursday night game. I saw Boise State was playing against South Florida. I saw a highlight where I think South Florida, they blocked the punt and they scored a touchdown. Yeah, there's this YouTube channel that I follow. It's called PSC or PCS Highlights. And the creator of that channel is a South Florida fan. Okay. And yeah, this is like a new era for ESPN. They introduced a new score bug. That score bug, it looks similar to the SEC on ABC score bug. And also, when a team scores a touchdown, the animation is similar to the Monday Night Football touchdown animation. It looks similar. Yeah. But I kind of like it. Although I'm not used to it yet, because this is a new score bug. Although, do I like this? I really like the SEC on ABC score bug and graphics. And I usually watch SEC games on ABC anyways, alright? So, yeah. But yeah, kind of similar. Maybe I should do a special edition of KSN of me talking about my favorite score bugs, my favorite graphics, my least favorite score bugs. Not just for football, but any sport. Major League Baseball, you know. Alright. So, college football. Here we go. We got a game on Peacock tonight. Western Illinois against Illinois. Okay. Now Saturday. We got some big games on Saturday. This is crazy. The big noon Saturday game on Fox. Number 1 Texas against number 3 Ohio State. Wow. I don't know how they determine the rankings. And I'm not going to give you any of my predictions because this is a new season. We'll see how it goes. Just like when the CFL season began, I didn't give you any of my predictions yet. But I'll probably do my predictions later this season. So, number 1 Texas against the defending national champions, Ohio State. And that game, normally some week 1 matchups are at a neutral site. This game is not at a neutral site. It is in Columbus, Ohio. Yes. We'll see. This is a huge matchup. And this is a cool thing about having the ESPN app. Is, they changed, yeah, I noticed they changed the look. If you're watching the video, if you're looking at right now on my phone, they changed the top part. I know it's not focusing, but it looks different. And if you scroll down, they're showing they have the matchup predictor, and ESPN has Texas 53.3% chance. And Ohio State 46.7% chance. That's a little surprising because this game is in Ohio State. They are the defending national champions. However, Texas, they're going to be having starting quarterback Arch Manning. Arch Manning, who was the backup quarterback for the past 2 seasons behind Quinn Ewers. Now, Quinn is with the Miami Dolphins. He got drafted to the Dolphins, and he's going to be the backup behind Tua Tagovailoa. It's crazy. I remember when Tua was playing in college for Alabama. I wish Arch Manning well. I remember he did play some last year. And he looked great. He looked great. And I think Texas will be in the playoff. And I think Ohio State will also be in the playoff, too. We might have a rematch later this year. Who knows? What if these 2 teams meet again in the playoffs? And what if it's in the national championship game? Oh my gosh. Well, for the national championship game, I was rooting for Ohio State. I don't know. I'm hoping for a good game. I'm not going to give you my predictions. I think it'll be close, though. I don't see this a one-sided game. Although they have something called College Pick'em. Look at that. College Pick'em. I usually do that. Maybe I'll still do that. I think if I have time and if I remember, I might work on that tonight. But College Pick'em, 51% picked Texas and 49% picked Ohio State. Wow. But yeah, every year I usually do the Bowl Mania in December. You know, predicting all the bowl games, winners, and all that stuff. Because that's the best time of the year, you know. So that is the biggest matchup. Isn't that crazy? Ohio State and Texas first game is their biggest matchup of the season. Unbelievable. So I'm just going to name the big games. And a lot of times week 1 also has a lot of blowout games where a team will be playing against a smaller team. So like Indiana's going to face Old Dominion. Most likely Indiana's going to win. Penn State, the number 2 seed, the number 2 ranked team, they're playing against Nevada. Most likely they're going to win. Number 5 ranked Georgia, they're playing against Marshall. Most likely Georgia's going to win. Okay, but hey, college football is full of upsets. They have a crazy history of upsets, but I don't see these upsets happening. Okay, later in the afternoon, Alabama is taking on Florida State on ABC. The game is in Tallahassee. We'll see how oh, man. Y'all remember. They got screwed out of the playoff in 2023, the last year where they had a 4-team playoff. And then the following year they introduced the new 12-team playoff format, and they weren't even in it. They lost a whole bunch of games last year. We'll see how Florida State does this year. It's like ever since they got screwed out of the playoffs, they haven't recovered from that. That's sad. They haven't recovered. But Alabama, they're going to have another pretty good season, I think. And let's see here. I'm scrolling down. And the big game on Saturday night is LSU Tigers against the Clemson Tigers. I will definitely watch that game because it seems like whenever LSU and Clemson play, it's always a good game. The last time they faced each other was in the 2020 CFP National Championship game. And that was a great game, by the way. I recommend y'all checking out the highlights of that game. LSU had Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback. Clemson had Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback. Tigers against Tigers. And this game is not at a neutral field. This game is in Clemson, South Carolina. The real Death Valley. The original Death Valley. Yeah, apparently that's what they're known for. And for some reason, LSU stole that name. LSU also, Tiger Stadium's also known as Death Valley. Okay. Since I'm from South Louisiana, the capital city, that's where LSU's at. I wish them well. I'm not a big LSU fan, but I wish them well. I hope they make the playoff. I wish them well. And I don't, I'm hoping they don't fire Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly used to be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish head coach. I'm hoping he doesn't get fired. But in order for his job to be safe, I think he needs to get in the playoff, or at least in the SEC championship game. And that is not easy, because the SEC is once again the toughest conference, which means it's also the best conference in college football. I'll be rooting for them, though. But if they lose, I'm not going to get upset. Here's the thing. Brian Kelly, he became the LSU head coach in 2022, and 2022 was his first season there. 2022, 2023, and 2024, LSU's first game was a big one at a neutral field, and they lost all those three first games. 2022, they lost against Florida State in the Superdome in New Orleans. They had a rematch against Florida State in 2023 I think it was either in Tampa Bay, Florida, or Miami, Florida. They lost. And last year, they were in Vegas, and I think they played against USC. They also lost. I really thought they would win that game, as well as the Florida State game in the Superdome. This game, not a neutral field, like I said. Maybe somehow LSU can finally win their first big game with Brian Kelly, but that is not easy. It is tough to win in Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson is the favorite to win the ACC, and I think they will win the ACC. The ACC is kind of a weak conference. I think Clemson will make the playoff. Yeah. Okay, you know what? I'll give you my my football conference champions, the Power 5 conference champions. Well, there's no Pac-12. I heard the Pac-12 is coming back next year. I think the Pac-12 is coming back next year. Okay. Well, that's good. It's kind of stupid that there isn't a Pac-12. Isn't that weird? You got Oregon in the Big Ten. Got Stanford in the ACC. That makes zero sense. They have to fly coast to coast. That makes no sense. It's hard to keep up with this stuff, you know? See, I used to be a big fan of college football. Not so much. I mean, I still enjoy watching college football games, but it's kind of changed, you know? It's not the same. It's not the same college football that I remember, just like the MLB. Before they had these changes, it's not the same MLB that I remembered. But actually, I enjoy college football more than MLB anyways. So, like I said, the only thing I really watch is the SEC on ABC. But years ago, I would watch like games all day long. You know, from like the early game to like the very last game. And you can do that. You can watch college football games for like over 12 hours. You can also do that with the United States Open Tennis Tournament. You can watch tennis for over 12 hours. From the first match of the day to the very last match of that evening, you know. And because it's Labor Day weekend, no NFL, they begin their regular season the following weekend. There's 2 games on Sunday. We got a game in the afternoon, Virginia Tech against number 13 ranked South Carolina, the Aflac kickoff. Where is that game going to be at? Is that going to be in Georgia? Or is that going to be in North Carolina? That's going to be in Georgia. Okay, so it used to be called the Chick-fil-A kickoff, but now Aflac has took over the sponsor. And then that evening, Notre Dame, this is a big matchup. Number 6 Notre Dame against number 10 Miami. Is this game going to be in Hard Rock Stadium? And that's the home to the Miami Hurricanes and the Miami Dolphins. And the answer is yes. Okay. That game is on at the same time as the CFL game. I'd rather watch the CFL game since that's my number 1 favorite league. Who knows? Maybe I can somehow put both games on at the same time. But there's also going to be tennis, primetime tennis as well. We got too much happening. We got too much happening on Labor Day weekend. Oh, you also got Major League Baseball, which most likely I'm not going to watch any baseball this weekend. Yeah. And there's also a Monday night football game. TCU against Bill Belichick's North Carolina Tar Heels. Now that's interesting. The only Monday Night Football regular season college game, because the following Monday night is Monday Night Football of the National Football League. I think the only reason why that's the Monday night game is because Bill Belichick is the North Carolina head football coach. Without him, there's no way that would be the Monday night game. Hey, I wish him well. I wish his team well. I'll be rooting for them. I think more people are going to watch North Carolina football because of Bill Belichick. Yeah, I wish him well. Hey, they have a chance. They have a chance in the ACC because that's a weak conference. I'm not sure if they have to play Clemson or Florida State or Syracuse. Those teams are pretty good. Virginia Tech can be pretty good. NC State. Florida State. We'll see how they do. Yeah. They're taking on TCU. And man, TCU football, to me, they're going to be known as them getting blown out, absolutely slaughtered in the 2022 College Football National Championship game. Yeah. I think I will watch that. I think I have to watch that game because this is Bill Belichick's. Not only this is Bill Belichick's first North Carolina football game as a coach, this is also his first college football game as a coach. Yeah, he's always been an NFL coach, so it's really weird that he's now a college coach after all these years and decades. So yeah, again, I wish him well. I wish him well, you know. Oh my gosh. We've got so much happening. Labor Day weekend. United States Open. That's going to come towards the middle of the tournament on Labor Day weekend. We got some CFL games. And of course, college football. Big games. Week 1. So I'll definitely watch the LSU Clemson game. I'll definitely watch the Monday night college game, North Carolina game. I'll watch that. But I'm probably going to watch that at the same time as the United States Open, prime time, okay? Sunday night, I don't know, because Sunday night is my brother's birthday. I still don't know if they're going to be coming over to see me. They usually do on that weekend. But one of my brothers, he likes watching tennis as well, and we usually talk about that. Yeah, he would usually come on Memorial Day weekend, which is the beginning of the French Open tournament, and he would usually come over during Labor Day weekend for his birthday, and that's when we're in the middle of the United States Open tennis, and we would usually watch some of that. So I'll have to see who he has, his picks. All right. Oh my gosh. A 2-hour episode, folks. If you listen to this whole episode, that means you are a huge fan of me. And I gotta go to bed. But I'm glad I was able to do this. You know what? Because it's Labor Day weekend, I won't be back on Monday. I'm going to wait until after Monday So Tuesday is when I'll be back. Alright? So, enjoy your Labor Day weekend. Whether if it's watching tennis, American college football, Canadian football, Major League Baseball. We got so much happening. I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great one.
Thank you for listening to Keith Sports News.